think it's Tuesday, April the 28th, 2020. And we're
Thank
really...
we have that little clock thing and calendar in the lower right-hand corner of the computer. That helps.
You know, it's funny. I tend to not look there until I'm trying to figure out what day it is. And then while I'm in the middle of saying that I don't know what day it is. I also have my calendar like on a screen that's right there. And I can easily just look to the right to see what day it is. And I don't do that either. So it's kind of a fail on every level, except for, you know, I'm able to get words out of my mouth. So that's always helpful. Though if you know me, I've never really had a problem with that, I suppose. So Steve, tell us what's going on today. This is pretty interesting.
Yeah, this is great. So first off, I'd like to introduce Dhurandhar. Now, it's interesting because Dhurandhar is one of my students. However, we have not yet met in real life, or at least in school, because of COVID-19. So our class, Dhurandhar's a 7th grader in my cycle class, and the class actually, you know, horrible timing, started the day that we were, I think it was the first day we were out, you know, on this stay-at-home thing. So Dhurandhar's complete experience in my class this year has been through this distance learning situation. Now, if you recall, because we've been showing this a bit, Eric Leitner, my wife Kathy Chow Isaacs, and I have put together a set of, and I dropped the link in for the Flipgrid, a set of Minecraft COVID build challenges. So it worked out really well for my class to say, hey, one of the options that you have during this time is to do one of these challenges. One of the other things the kids were able to do is work on different projects in Make Code Arcade. But Dhurandhar, he did, I think, 2. Did you do 2 of the challenges so far?
Yeah, I did 2 of the challenges so far.
Okay, so you probably did the first one, which was the build the dream quarantine home, right?
No, I did the escape. I did the entry room, and then I did the.
I don't even know if I saw your entry. All right, I have to check out your entry room. That's awesome. So the entry room, which is like an escape room idea, and then this one, which really stood out to all of us, which is your COVID-19 museum, which is basically the project was called Inform the Public, and we were looking at things like information literacy and double fact checking and telling the story of what's been happening with COVID-19. Which fits into this week's streams because we're talking about using tools in these products to narrate and tell stories in whether it be Minecraft or what have you. So Mike, Dhurandhar's project in Flipgrid, one day I got contacted by Eric who said, we just got a submission, and it was in, I think it was 13. What was the maximum for each video? Was it like 3 minutes or 5 minutes?
It was 3 minutes per each
Dhurandhar?
video. Yeah, it was 3 minutes for each video. But it took me a long time to explain everything. So it ended up in 13 different videos. So there were 13 different parts.
Exactly. So instead of the thing was, hey, submit a 3-minute video showing your museum. And Dhurandhar said, wait a minute, I can't really do it in 3 minutes. So here's part 1, 2, 3 through 13. You can go and actually on that Flipgrid site, you could see all 13 videos. But what I asked when that had happened is I asked Dhurandhar for the actual world file so we can show you the actual world and kind of walk through it on our stream. So I'm going to let Dhurandhar show his screen. Do you want to take us on a tour of your, well, actually, let me ask you something else too before we even start that. How has this been for you? I'm just curious how, now that, because we haven't had too many students on, what's it been like for you in this whole, learning from home, distance learning thing, whether it be for this class or your other classes? I'm just kind of curious how that's been for you.
It's not that bad. It's, my teachers post every morning around 8ish. And I just check them and then I just do my work. It's not that hard, but I'd rather be in school than do it.
For sure.
It feels like when I do it at home, it feels like it takes forever. But then when I do it at school, it's just like you have 40 minutes to do it, so it's like you don't take a lot of time, kind
Right.
of.
And
Those teachers cracking that
Yeah.
whip.
Yeah.
Get
and
going.
I dare ask, how long would you say you spent on either the entry room project or the COVID museum?
So for the entry room project, I spent like the week that we had the project assigned for. So I spent like a week for the entry room. And then for the museum, I spent like 2 weeks because I went a little overtime. So I couldn't get it in on time because I was making it like really big. So I did it for like 2 weeks.
I think we'll overlook the fact that it was a little bit late in this case. But now it's always interesting to me because now hopefully the assignment or the project was not necessarily overwhelming in terms of what we had asked for. But like you said, clearly you went above and beyond. Would you like what made you want to go, so far above, what maybe you had to do for that? I'm just kind of curious.
Because I could have made it really easy, but there was a lot of information for COVID-19. So then when I was just researching, I was just like, okay, let's just put this in and this in. And in the end, it just like piled up into a giant thing.
Okay. Well, I apologize if it ended up feeling like a big project, but I'm very pleased with the result, and I hope that you're proud of it as well.
Yeah.
Let's jump in there and let you give us a tour, and we might stop you at some points to talk about some of the features in Minecraft, if that's okay.
Okay. So you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes. Well, Mike can.
So this is a museum from the outside, and then I made like a little mod of the COVID-19 thing up there.
It's actually not sharing your Minecraft screen though. I'm not sure
right.
what screen I'm seeing or not seeing.
Oh, okay, I'll try it.
Give that another shot.
It's not showing up. It just says entire screen. So I'll just, this is,
And then you went then into the Minecraft screen from there?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
now does this work?
Yep, there we go. Perfect.
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So this is the museum, and that's like a model of the COVID-19 virus.
Now, quick little aside. One of the challenges that you could submit to Flipgrid is the model of the virus, so you might as well submit that also. I don't know if you did already.
For the next challenge, I wanted to do a dream house, but I could do a model. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the model, you could just go right into this world, hit record, and you got it. Look at all the people walking around ready to get into the museum.
Yeah.
Having a hard time getting in the door?
Yeah, it's lagging a lot.
Okay. I could also go into mine.
Oh, okay, yeah, it worked.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the start of the place. You first have to go to this guy named Jerry. He's an NPC.
What is an NPC, Durander, for our audience?
An NPC is a non-character player, I think.
Cool.
That's what it stands for. But it's just like a person, so that you can put down, and then he can like say stuff.
Cool.
And you can change his WB. If you do WB, then you can change how he looks. So there's like a bunch of different appearances.
And WB in Minecraft Education Edition is World Builder, and you need the World Builder mode on in order to use Minecraft Education Edition specific features and to edit them. So in other words, if we want to change anything to the NPC Jerry, we would have to put on World Builder, right click on Jerry, and then we can make those changes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the starting, and
And while we're at it, because we have a great opportunity here, let's learn from you about COVID-19 since you did so much research. So when you get to the signs, whether you don't have to necessarily read them, but you could kind of paraphrase what each one is saying, and hopefully our audience will come out with a good understanding.
Okay. So basically, in the starting, in late 2019, in Wuhan, a lot of people were experiencing rapid cough, wheezing, and fevers, and a lot of people are getting really sick or even dying. And that was October to December 2019. And then I couldn't really add pictures, so I used links. So if I click on that button, it takes me to a link where I can see a photo.
And that's one of the neat things too. So with the NPC, you can have it take you to any web page. So if, as a student or a teacher, you want to bring up other information from the NPC, the player in the game can click on that and then go to that link. So that's what Dhurendra did here, which is pretty neat. And then you just go back into Minecraft and you're back in the game.
So this is like a picture of the Wuhan skyline. So that's like the city. Yeah. And then these are just a bunch of pictures. Do you want me to show the pictures?
You could show only the ones, like some of them. Everyone, yeah, I would say as you go through, if there's some you want to show us, by all means. Okay. You don't have to show all of them.
So that's October to December 2019. And this next one is in November to December 2019. Scientists find out that the virus that's killing many people in Wuhan is a special type of coronavirus, but the WHO only named it COVID-19 later. But for simplicity, for the whole museum tour, it's going to be called COVID-19, even though it was only named later in a different section. And coronavirus has been a virus on Earth for a really long time, but COVID-19 is just a special type of coronavirus that it mostly affects the elderly and babies, but it can also affect young and middle-aged people. And a fun fact is that why isn't in coronavirus? The virus looks like a crown with all of the spikes, and crown in Latin is coronum. And
cool.
So
and then you refer back to the model on the roof that people could have seen. And then that thing that you wrote all that on, that's I think called a board or a billboard in Minecraft Education Edition. And just to give a little insight too, since we're talking a lot about storytelling and how we do things with story and narrative in these tools, that board holds a lot more information than in the regular Minecraft. When you use signs, I think it probably can hold about 9 or 10 words, where these boards allow you to tell a lot more, which do help, of course, in that situation where, as a teacher or a student, you want to give more information than you can. There are other things like a book and quill that you could have multiple pages in, but this is a nice way to display a good amount of information.
Yeah, so you have to be in World Builder mode to access these, and then you can just type in them like this.
Awesome.
And then these are like portfolios. I already have one inside of here.
And what are those?
These are portfolios, but I renamed them so they say COVID-19 virus model pictures. Oops. And
Does that work then if you show it? Oh, okay. So it's interesting because the portfolio I think is specific to the person playing the game.
Yeah.
So if I had the camera and took pictures, they would end up in my portfolio. And the camera and portfolio is awesome also for the same reason, because I can go around my world. Like we had for Flipgrid, everybody submits a video of their project. But if I were a teacher in school, I might say to the students, send me a portfolio showing all the pictures of your project. So maybe Durender would have gone around with the camera and taken pictures and then submitted his portfolio as the assignment, and that would work also.
Yeah, so and because this is a copy of the original world, so that's why it's not like showing up. But what you would do would you would take the camera and then right click, and then you can take a photo of the model, and then if you open up the portfolio, it just shows up.
That's awesome. Now, I forget, but can you put a picture in a book and quill? Do you know that, Mike? I thought that was something either they might have added or I'm not sure, but if so, imagine how cool it would be for Durender where he wanted to actually keep this portfolio for other people to be able to see. If in a book, if he was able to leave it in the world with the photos that he put in and then sign it. That's something we should look at. I kind of forget.
The signed book can't be reopened, re-edited.
No, I know, but it can be opened by somebody else.
Right.
So can you put pictures in them now?
In the books? Yeah, he had one right there with a picture in it.
In a book? Let's see.
Yeah, he was just looking at the book.
Yeah, but this is a portfolio. It's not a.
So that's the portfolio, yeah. Yeah. So the portfolio you can export and like share after the fact as a PDF. But I'm wondering if the book and quill, if you can now put.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. You can?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, like if you click on that icon at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then there's image.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, and you can pick the image. There it is.
Oh, so that's cool. Wait, where do you see that? As the picture?
You just click the pencil and then you click there's supposed to be an add pictures thing, right? Yeah, there.
I don't think no, I just see add pages. Wait, wait, I'm looking. Oh, you have an add picture one down there? Oh,
yeah.
Maybe because you have pictures. Like I don't have a picture yet.
You have to take a picture and then you can add it into the book and quill.
And then I betcha, like I'm saying, if I add that, oh my gosh. So now, and if I sign this, that will stay in there. See, that's super cool. Because then you can take pictures and think of the ways you could use that in a, either a game for clues or like let people take the book with them as they experience something, and it becomes their continual journal of showing what they've what quests they've finished and stuff. Okay, I'm excited. Good work.
I'll just leave that there. Okay. And then the NPC has some this is a graph of the ages affected by COVID-19. Yeah, so in the graph, the most people who get affected are the people who are in their 80s.
And you could link to, well, you are really linking to web pages, but you could also, I think it's neat that when you link from an NPC to a web page, like if you want a student or a peer to find out information and then use that information somewhere else in the Minecraft world, that's a really neat use of that. Like, let's say you do have puzzles in the Minecraft experience, and I have to get some clues from the web page and then go back and do that. That's a pretty neat use.
Yeah. And then this is this. Yeah. Will's behind. It's on the next section. This is December to January 2019 to 2020. So it said that COVID-19 came from animals in the Wuhan markets. It's not fully confirmed, and many mysteries are still there about the origin of this virus because there's a lot of rumors that COVID-19 came from labs in Wuhan.
Right.
But most people say that it came from markets. So that's why I said it's not like fully confirmed because there's still like other theories. And then this is a picture of the markets. And they're like open air kind of, so viruses can easily get into food. And then this is mid-January 2020. COVID-19 spreads and people in the US start to prepare for COVID-19. A lot of people are getting infected in Europe and Asia, but no cases in the US yet. And then this is just a picture of people stocking up in the US.
I've always loved that you can link images in an NPC and they open up. That's a really neat way for you to show what you've learned and stuff like that. I like that you use that.
Yeah, because
Steve, you're muted, Steve.
Thank you. I was going to say, I think a neat feature, and this is a feature request I'm going to shout out right here on our stream, would be to create, which I'm sure they could do, like a little browser right inside of Minecraft so that this just shows up right there. But I'll just leave it there for now. I'll talk to the team. I'll send them a little note.
I was going to say, yeah. we know people.
We know people.
Yeah, because when I wanted to make it look like an actual museum, so I wanted like pictures. So then I searched it on the web how to like get pictures in Minecraft. And then there was like a bunch of ways, but it all included like editing your texture packs and stuff. So I didn't know how to do that, so I just did the NPCs.
The NPCs are great.
Yeah. And then like most of the shelves are empty. So a lot of people are stocking up. And this is around January to January 20th, 2020. Officials in Thailand and Japan report a COVID-19 infection. The people came from Wuhan. And U.S. starts COVID-19 symptom screening at major airports. And the National Institute of Health announces that they're making a vaccine for COVID-19. And then this is just a picture of people getting screened at airports.
It's interesting. I was in China. I don't know, Mike, if you had the same experience when you were there, but we went from Shenzhen to Hong Kong. And when we got to the border, the customs person came in with a thermometer and basically just shot at each of us from a fairly decent distance for our temperature. It was before COVID, but I think that's standard practice there, or must have been for a while. But it's really interesting. And the place where I was working, I was teaching a camp. Every morning they did the same thing for the students to see if anybody had, and the reason I bring that up also is we might get to a point now where there would be screenings like that for when we go back to school. I'm interested to see. And I also kind of wonder, I mean, that could tell that you have a fever. I don't know how much. It's amazing what I guess they can start to tell from that. But interesting stuff.
In the Hong Kong airport, they had I noticed that they had body scanners that you didn't like walk through. They were just like there was little kiosks that people were sitting at looking at monitors that were kind of showing people's auras, like their body temperature and stuff as you walked by. The other thing I thought was interesting was, I was in a mall in Shenzhen, and they had scanners, those same kind of kiosks, in the mall as well. So it's actually been pretty standard stuff in China for a while. And I suspect that you're right, that there might be a situation where, someone, a teacher, a principal, administrator has to, like, at the front door of the school every morning. So, like, I think entry procedures to come into the school every morning are going to be a little bit longer going forward.
Like, I can only imagine, like, so you get scanned and they're like, sorry, you need to go home. Like, it's just going to be such an interesting time when we go back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They might like bring out those you know how like at airports there are like those metal detector things that you walk through?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then those can detect temperature too, so they might use those.
Wow. Very possible.
Yeah, they just set them up at the doorways, so it's kind of easier. Yeah, and that's around January to January 20th, and then that's the end of this section. So
At this section.
yeah. So if you flick that lever, it opens up this place where there's a bunch of villagers. And then January 20th to January 26th, 2020, there's the first confirmed case in the U.S., and Wuhan temporarily closes outside transport, such as flights and trains. Cases around the world rise. So, this is an article, I'm pretty sure. It's one of the sources that I use, but so I just included the article because it has extra info.
Yeah, and this is a great point too. Like, in other words, when you're citing sources for your project, to be able to go right to the source in Minecraft, and is pretty great. So, that's another thing and again, our purpose. One of the purposes here is that we're talking about, digital literacy, and we're talking about narrative and storytelling in games, and the importance of citing your sources. So, how easy is it now to have your NPC, give us the source? That's pretty great.
And then this is January 26th to January 30th, 2020. First case of confirmed person-to-person COVID-19 transmission in the USA. The World Health Organization, or WHO, announces that the COVID-19 virus is a public health emergency of international concern. Trump administration announces that 4 region nationalists that have went to China in the past 14 days will be denied entry. And then this is it's like a flyer from WHO. Oh, never mind. It's an article. So this extra information. And this is the next section. February to February 10th, 2020. A man in the Philippines has died from COVID-19. This is the first time that a COVID-19 death has been reported outside of Wuhan. Many people oppose of the travel restrictions on China. 10 people on the Diamond Princess cruise ship near Tokyo have confirmed cases of COVID-19. And I don't know how to pronounce this, but I think it's L.I. Livon, has a person who has tried to alert people about the SARS-like virus has died of coronavirus. And a U.S. nationalist has died of, it's supposed to say coronavirus, there's a typo, died of coronavirus in Wuhan from COVID-19. This is the first confirmed case of confirmed death of a foreigner. There's so many villagers.
So the villagers. Now, did you put in the villagers just so you'd have more people like walking around the museum? Was that the idea?
Yeah, it was supposed to be like they were just like villagers, but then when I try to click, I accidentally click on a villager, so the trading thing opens up.
Right. I guess technically you could put a bunch of NPCs in there as well and just have them be looking like they're looking at the signs and stuff too. But the villagers are cool because they walk around.
Yeah.
Brad says the struggle of real museums sometimes. That's right. We have to. Now it's interesting because now we won't be able to walk around with that many villagers in a museum at a time.
There's only going to be like 3 or something.
Yeah.
And this is a picture of the cruise ship that has been quarantined because a few people on the cruise ship have COVID-19. And then this is February 10th to February 18th, 2020. The World Health Organization officially names the new virus COVID-19. So this is the part where they officially name it COVID-19. And that's what I was talking about in the first section. A Chinese tourist has died from COVID-19 in France. This is the first COVID-19 death in Europe. There's a case in Egypt. There's a new case in Egypt. This is the first COVID-19 case in Egypt, and that's the first case in Africa. And there's a theory that Xi Jinping, which is the president of China, knew about COVID-19 a while back, but this hasn't been confirmed.
Now, these are all the interesting things when it comes to this project of informing the public and fact finding, and because there are all these other different theories. So it's like, I'm sure you had to cross-reference certain things. Like,
yeah,
you use more than one source at times to try to check the different facts to see if it at least kind of showed up in different places or things like that.
Yeah, and I crossed this article, and I didn't know what to do with it at first because it was like kind of a theory. It wasn't really real, but it still could be real. So I didn't know if I should include it or not. So I just included it, but I didn't say that it was like confirmed or something.
Correct.
Because
so what you did was absolutely right. You said it was a rumor, right?
Yeah, because he gave like a speech in China, and then a few people were like, they said that by the way he talked, it was like they found that he might have knew about the coronavirus outbreak earlier. And then this is February 18th to February 25th, 2020. People who have tested negative for COVID-19 begin getting off the Diamond Prince cruise ship. U.S. begins tracking COVID-19 cases in two groups, the U.S. Department of State and the U.S. Public Health Network. The University of Nebraska Medical Center in Omaha has started human testing of a drug that will stop COVID-19. The first participant is a person who was on the Diamond Prince cruise ship. Italy struggles to contain the outbreak, and Italy makes a list of towns that are in full lockdown.
And one of the cool things, we could share this world too, Durender, with your permission, and then other people can even download it and walk through your museum themselves.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sure. And this is the where I found the data, and it's not scrolling.
A little lag or something.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so these 10 places in Italy are in full lockdown, so they're forced to stay in their homes because a lot of people in Italy are getting COVID-19. And February 25th to February 30th, 2020, California, a patient in California who has COVID-19 is being treated, but the case has an unknown origin. He did not have a matching travel history or exposure. This might have been because of community spread. Trump places Vice President Mike Pence in charge of the U.S. response to COVID-19. A patient with COVID-19 in Washington state has died. The Washington government has declared a state of emergency. And this is an article about community spread and how it works. And a lot of the sources that I have are from CNN. And yeah, this is where I got that info from. And it's just basically that if enough people in a community have COVID-19, then it could spread rapidly inside of the community and outside to other communities. And then that's the end of that section. And it goes into this room.
How many more sections are there?
And there's one more section upstairs, and that's where there's a dome upstairs.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So this is the second.
Definitely go through that, and then at the end, I'm going to show the challenge as well, and with the videos and all that. Not show the videos, but show where they live.
Yeah. Okay. So this is March 1st to March 5th, 2020. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, declares a public health emergency in Florida. In the next few days, Kentucky, New York, Maryland, Utah, and Oregon have declared states of emergency to make the U.S. economy face the concerns of COVID-19 virus. The Federal Reserve cuts interest rates by 0.5 percentage point. Iran temporarily releases 54,000 people in prison to try and ease the spread of COVID-19 in prisons. And at first, I didn't know why they did that, but then when I did more research, it was that there was a lot of COVID-19 transmissions in the prisons because Iran had a lot of prisoners, so it was really easy for the virus to spread. So that's why they released 54,000 people out of prisons. And 23 people in Iran parliament have been tested positive for COVID-19. CDC now allows anybody to access COVID-19 testing. Um, so CDC now allows people to test their own symptoms and decide if they want to test for COVID-19. And
Wow, that's so. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to stop. That's so interesting to me about the releasing of the prisoners. I wonder, and I don't know if I missed it, but I wonder if they tested all of them before they released them, or how they handled that, because it's like you have a few issues there. I mean,
yeah,
all. Oof, wow, I wonder.
yeah, because
And then I wonder.
yeah, because it's 54,000 people. So, I mean, we don't know their records and stuff, but maybe it was like they released the prisoners who have like a good record or like less crimes.
Well, yeah, that, and also, I mean, hopefully also tested them and they, were negative for COVID. I mean, it's because that many people together in one place. I mean, there's so many issues around this that are just so challenging to even think about.
Yeah. So those are just more photos and articles. And then in this part, this is when it gets a little more intense because this is when it rapidly increases with cases. So in March 5th to March 20th, 2020, the Italian Prime Minister signs a decree that puts travel restrictions on the whole Lombardy region and 14 other provinces in Italy. Later, the Prime Minister announces that the whole country is on lockdown. The World Health Organization officially announces that the COVID-19 outbreak is a pandemic. Trump restricts foreign nationalists from entering the U.S. for 30 days to slow the spread of the virus. And foreign nationalists are people who are not citizens of the USA. So basically, people who are citizens of China or people who are citizens of the USA that have visited China now can't come in. And Trump also declares a national emergency to get $50 billion in federal resources to stop COVID-19. Trump signs a COVID-19 relief package into law that provides free COVID-19 testing and paid emergency leave. Italy passes China's COVID-19 deaths, with Italy at about 3,407 confirmed cases and China with about 3,253 confirmed cases. So this whole section is where it gets more intense because Italy passes China's death rates, and then U.S. passes China and Italy's case rate. Oh yeah, then
Wow.
yeah, and I was looking because on my TV broadcasting there's a channel dedicated to COVID-19, and on that channel it's like they list each country and their cases, deaths, and recoveries. And when I was looking at that, China had the most recovered cases, but at the current time it also had the most cases. But then as the US got more cases, China stayed at the 82,000 range because they had 82,000 cases, and then US passed them. And then for the past few weeks, it's been at 82,000, and it's been stuck at 82,000. They gain like a few cases each day, so it's amazing how they handled it so fast.
This is and this is a great picture. I'm glad you included this because, just real simply giving the distinction between epidemic and a pandemic, and wow.
Yeah. So epidemic is a disease that's out of control. So, like they can't stop the disease, and pandemic is a disease that affects the whole country or the entire world. And luckily, we have a pandemic, but not an epidemic. And March 20th to March 31st, 2020, Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and the International Olympic Committee postponed the Olympics to 2021 due to the outbreak. The White House and Senate make a agreement on $2 trillion stimulus deal to heal the damage COVID-19 did to the economy. And this is one of the most expensive measures in history of Congress. So that was a big measure that they took because they signed $2 trillion in a stimulus package. And a stimulus package is a package that the government basically spends more money to try and boost the economy and increase spending. I have an article about that in the NPC.
Now, did you know what a stimulus package was like, or that term or anything before all of this?
No, I didn't. When I did research, it was like, because I use a lot of CNN sites, but I also use the different, like some of the World Health Organization sites too. And CNN had a really good timeline, and they grouped together all of their articles in the timeline. So that was really helpful. And then in one of the places in the timeline, it said stimulus package, and I didn't even know what a stimulus package was. So I had to go to a different website, and I had to like search it up and find the definition. And
that's awesome. I think Dr. Anthony Fauci should have you on the press conferences moving forward. Explaining all this stuff to the people.
That's funny.
Do you know who Anthony Fauci is?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Don't worry.
Is he like a person on the news or something? I don't really watch news that much.
Good, but he's.
I was gonna say that's not a bad thing.
Right. So he's the. Gosh, now I need to. What's his actual title? But he's the one who's
he's in charge. He's like
advising.
the expert on infectious diseases and stuff. He's on that task force or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
And he's I have to be careful what I say sometimes here. But he's the one who's advising, I would say, the president and everything, and sharing all of the important information out. So yeah. Center. Yeah. He's an infectious disease specialist from the Center of Infectious Diseases. So
there you go.
Yeah, I really don't watch.
Not to be confused with Brad Pitt.
Right.
Nowadays, I don't really watch news because it's just that every day, just like coronavirus outbreak. The only thing that I do watch is that like counter, but I don't watch it that much. Yesterday, I actually saw that the U.S. has more than 1 million cases now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's getting.
Yeah, I think you are plenty informed without needing to watch the news. So keep doing what you're doing. I can't tell you how. I'm going to throw one quick question out to the chat too, because I find there are certain things that I've learned just in this session today for sure. One of them being that thing about Iran releasing 54,000 prisoners. I don't think I knew that before this. Maybe a lot of you did. But I would like to ask the chat, just to throw in the chat, what was new information, or what did you learn today that maybe you didn't know before Dhirendra certainly informed us, or better informed us? And you could keep going. We'll just see what people say in the chat.
Okay. So, and then the U.S. COVID-19 cases count goes higher than Italy's and China's. U.S. has about 85,911 confirmed cases. China has about 81,827 confirmed cases. And Italy has about 80,539 cases, comfort cases. And then this is the article that I got the what is a stimulus package from.
Good.
So yeah, what is a stimulus package? The stimulus package is measures put together by stimulate a floundering economy. The objective of a stimulus package is to reinvigorate the economy and prevent a reverse recession by boosting economic employment and spending. So the theory behind the usefulness of a stimulus package is rooted in the Keynesian economics, which argues that the impact of recession can be lessened with increased spending. So this is the main part. It basically spends a lot of money and increases government spending, and that's supposed to lessen the impact of recession and that's why Donald Trump wants to open up the economy a lot, because the election's coming up soon and the economy needs to prepare for the election.
Kid gets it. That's wild. That's something.
And
So,
this
I'll
is
make a
April
bit out of
1st
it,
to
right?
April.
I was just gonna say I dropped the link. I put the file in a shared Google Drive. So there's the link. I'll probably make a bit.ly out of it to share it publicly later. But feel free to copy paste, download that, and you could walk through Durender's world as well. Let me just pause for a second, because I just want to make sure that we talk a little bit about the contest, and then we'll see if we have a little more time to finish up. I do want to see the dome. Maybe if you could walk up to where the dome is while I do this, we could at least show that part in a moment. But
Okay.
I'm showing on my screen right now the Minecraft COVID challenge. And this is, again, big props to Eric Leitner, Kathy Chow Isaacs, and Mike Washburn and Participate, who have been helping us stream all of these, like when we did the original introductions to each challenge. But here's the challenge page on Flipgrid, and you can see there are 52 responses so far for our first challenge, which was this Minecraft Stuck at Home challenge, which I think Durender said he might do as his next one. But then so here's the entry room. So let's see if Durender's is in here yet. Yep, here it is. Oh, and I did see this. So this is, again, 2 videos for this one, so you can go check those out. But this is what I find pretty wild. When we go to inform the public, this is the challenge that Durender did here. And there are others, like the Future Medical Facility, the COVID, build the model of the virus, the entry room, a COVID Rube Goldberg machine. These are all open. They're definitely open until Friday, May 1st. I'm not sure if we're going to extend this or not. But when you go to the inform the public one, look, there are 17 responses, but almost all of them are Durender's part. So it goes from part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. So there are 13 videos that take you through, I guess, at about 2 to 3 minutes each, a walkthrough of this whole museum. And then Ruben happens to be another student of mine who submitted one. But I just find that to be pretty incredible. So we thank you for all of your hard work. But I'll hand it back to you. But I just want people to know that that they can all participate in these build challenges and share these, please, with your classes, with your students, with your friends and stuff like that. Okay, there we go. Whoops, sorry. I did the unspeakable. You can go back to Durender.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, look at it.
I had a lot of fun making this, so it wasn't that bad. Yeah. And then this is the dome. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the dome, and you can see the COVID-19 model up.
That's awesome.
And this is just a room inside. The only data that it has is there's one guy with a hazmat suit, and Wuhan fully opens their transportation because they contain the virus, and that's good. But John is panicking because
Huh.
the U.S. death rate has went past Italy's and Japan's. I mean, not Japan's, China's. So the U.S. now has the most deaths and the most cases. And then he has a hazmat suit, but on the board it says "Do not panic." And then this is just like general what you should do. So do
Oh,
not
wow.
panic. Here are some tips. Always wash your hands. Cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. Stay 6 feet away from people. Don't go near sick people or people coughing. Don't touch your face. Stay home if you're sick. Get more information. The more educated you are, the less scared you are. Cover your nose and mouth with a cloth when outside. Clean things you touch and eat. And try to stay home as much as you can. And then these are just like more like websites that show more tips.
So awesome. What a great way to end it too, with all these public service announcements and sharing how people can protect themselves, because that's so important. And I appreciate the "don't panic" message. While that's loading up, I'll just go over a couple of things. So we have at 11 a.m. this morning on Twitter, on Periscope, I'm going to be chatting with Heather from PledgeSense. You might get a notification on Twitter that the Periscope has gone live at 11 a.m. We're talking about remote learning and how the transition has been and things like that. This afternoon, Mike and I will be on at 3 p.m. I think we still have to convene on what surprise we're going to bring to you this afternoon, game oriented. And I just so want to thank Dhurendra for joining us and for informing us. This video will be available on YouTube, so many more people will get to be informed by you, and the world will be available. I believe this was the most information I've received that seemed worthwhile in less than an hour than I have in the whole 3 or 2 months or whatever we've been doing this for. So you are awesome. I'm so glad you joined us. I'm proud of your work, and I hope that you might consider taking game design and development as an elective next year, so that we can actually work together, maybe even in a real school building.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed this, and yeah, it was fun making the world. It wasn't like really too hard, but yeah.
You put a lot into it, and I appreciate that. And I hope that many others can learn from it. That's the takeaway for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dhurendra. Thank you, Steve. This was very, very cool. We'll be sharing this video on Mr. Isaac's YouTube channel. It'll also be on the Participate YouTube channel, eventually. And and we will see everybody again later today at 3:00. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks again.